Hey, I'm Tini, and the goal of this channel is to provide you with practical tips and strategies to enrich your life experience. Today, I'm here with Deborah Craig, or Debbie Craig. You're gonna tell me if you prefer one or the other. She is passionate about helping women thrive, and she has an interesting story because she left her corporate career to pursue her dreams, and now she is a successful, open-hearted and open-minded and skilled hypnotherapist and life coach. And today we're going to talk about how to fulfill our true potential and other cool stuff. So, hey, Deborah, welcome, and I'm so happy you're here.
Thank you, Tini. That was an amazing introduction and you absolutely nailed it. And believe it or not, Deborah or Debbie is fine. My business name I keep as Deborah because that's my full name, but most of my friends, so you can just call me Debbie. That's absolutely fine. But my business model is all done in Deborah. So that's why I use that so that people become familiar with that. So yeah.
Yay. It's kind of like with names you never know because
Exactly.
it also depends on how we're raised or how we're used to hearing our name, and it's actually a big part of everything that we do, right?
It really is. Um, I actually didn't use Deborah for pretty much my whole life. I only embraced it again when I started my business. How strange is that?
That's
It
interesting.
just felt, even when I saw the name Deborah written out, and I thought, that just feels more in alignment with where I'm going with my business. So that was really when I started to embrace it. So other than my mum, not many other people would use Deborah. In fact, a lot of people didn't even know that my full name was Deborah. They just all assumed it was the shortened version of Debbie or Debs or Deb or Dee or a million other names that I might get called along the way. Yeah, so there we have it. I embraced Deborah as I launched my business, and it felt at the right time to do it. So yeah.
And speaking of feeling, how do you, how did you feel? Like, how did you know that you wanted to pursue something other than what you were doing?
I always knew, but the difficulty was that I didn't know that there could be another way. I saw in the horizon other people doing other things. And I actually, when I was 17, when I was leaving school, which was a lot to do with my family circumstances, and it was the right thing to do at the time, but it changed the course of my life. But when I was at that age, I always knew. In fact, I remember saying out loud, I wish I could be a social worker or a counsellor. So now I'm 45, so quite a long time ago. But interestingly, there was always a part of me that knew that I wanted to help people and help people move forward in their life, uncover what their fears, their old beliefs were, really help them heal from the inside. I just didn't know that's what it meant back then. And I didn't take that path in life just for varying different reasons that life happens to us and we just go down a different path. But I always knew that I wanted to help people. In fact, even in all the corporate jobs that I did, the types of roles that I had were managing people, so like coaching them, or were training people. So again, helping them, grow, and teaching them. And then also, even when I was a seller, when I was in sales, I had a feeling of being able to change someone's life because I was actually in mortgages. So being able to put that in place and see people actually find like a dream home or, renovate the house to their dreams. So I still had some element of satisfaction there, but it just didn't hit the mark long term. It had a shelf life. And then I started to have the uneasy feeling for quite a number of years. Itchy feet, changing jobs in the same company, but trying new things, always looking for the thing. I thought something was going to go, whoa, and hit me like a bolt of lightning and go, oh, you've landed. This is the one. And every time I would move, I would realize that it just wasn't. It was like, you know, like a lead balloon. And latterly I took a job where it was, I thought it was going to be the one. I built myself right up. I was like, this is it, this is the time. And it turned out a very toxic environment and a really negative situation. So I actually moved back to my old department to a higher job, stuck my head down, got on with the job for a year. And it was at that point that I started to make some shifts, which I'll tell you about shortly, that changed the whole path. But going back to your point, how did I know? I just always had it in me, like a feeling that something, I was destined for something greater, something bigger, something where I was making a difference in the world. I just knew, just didn't know how to do it for a long, long time.
And when you, let's say, found, let's use this, or when you connected with your purpose to fulfill your true potential, did it feel the same way? Like, because sometimes we ask, okay, what does it feel to fall in love? What does it feel to, I have this feeling inside of me that I am destined to do something greater. And in my mind, they're similar feelings because we can't explain them, but we feel them.
Yep.
And when you connect with your purpose, do you feel the same way? It's kind of like, yeah, marriage.
Yes, I actually do. And even although to do what I did was so much hard work, like, you know, I retrained, I got a degree, and you know, got a qualification, and I had to go hypnotherapy and all these changes that I made, and a lot of sacrifices. But what was really interesting was, even though I was probably working harder than I'd ever worked, crazy hours, longer than I'd ever worked, to get all of these qualifications and put myself where I wanted to be, and then nobody prepares you for what it's like starting a business. You just can't. In fact, it's good that you don't know, because I think if you knew, you might not do you might not do it. But one of the things I noticed was that when you're working really hard towards something that you just love and you believe in so passionately, and you see the transformation in people's lives, it never feels like true hard work. Where if I compare it to my old world, it would feel really just, you know, uncomfortable, or I would feel resentful if I had to maybe work more than I was really comfortable doing, if it was impacting other parts of my life. Whereas I would say now, living my purpose, it feels more like it's integrated with my life rather than two fully separate entities. And I think that is probably the dream for me, was where it had a blended feeling. It's like when people ask, you know, when will you retire? In my corporate world, I would have said, oh, as soon as I can, and then start living my life. Now, when I've been asked that question, I think I don't really see myself retiring, because it doesn't have the same, I don't have that same feeling. It's like, I think I'll always do something in some capacity in the world that I'm in just now. So it's a complete mindset shift.
I love how you explain this. And because it's something tangible, it's not like something, oh, yeah, you're going to know it, you're going to feel it and know it when the time comes. Yeah, I love that. Okay, let's go into what you prepared for us today.
Okay.
And I don't know if this is part of what you have prepared, but what does it mean to live our true potential?
Well, for me, to live your true potential is basically what my mission is. And my mission is actually to empower women to realize their full potential and raise their vibrational level. So that is actually what it means to me. So when you're really realizing your true potential, you actually shift your vibration. And some people think, oh, that's a bit woo-woo. And in actual fact, it really isn't, because we live a life on various frequencies. When I look at my life before, I lived on one frequency, or one, you know, one vibration. What's happened is I've shifted right up. And that's what I'm trying to help other women do, is simply through realizing their potential. It's like light bulbs, constantly going on, and then that vibrational level just goes up and up and up, and it's got nothing to do with starting a business. It's got nothing to do with finding the dream job. It's actually got to do with you stepping into you and realizing what you're capable of. That might simply be being the most confident person at the meeting that you go to because the job you're in you love, but you want to stand up and be heard. Maybe that's what realizing your true potential is, so that you have a voice. Or it might be to be the best parent. It really doesn't matter, because when sometimes people get caught up in, find your purpose, and it's bounded about so much these days. And I changed a lot of the language I was using because of that. And I realized it was more about realize your full potential, because then you can create the opportunities that you want, and you will live on a completely new vibrational level. So that hopefully sums that part up for you.
Yeah, it does. I was also thinking just the other day about how grateful I am for everyone on this planet. Like, we just feel like whatever we're doing, sometimes we take it for granted and we think, oh, it's not that important, and I'm meant to do something other than sewing. But without sewing, there could be no clothes. So that's really important in the world, in like the ecosystem and everything.
I really like that sentiment, because as I said, sometimes people would get so hooked on, oh, it must be some groundbreaking, world-changing thing. In fact, I shared a post the other day in social media, and it was all about how, sometimes we don't even realize it, but just impacting one person's life can be enough. It's not about, being the Dalai Lama. It's not about being, a world leader. That's amazing if you're aiming to do that, and absolute kudos to those people. And I hope myself to be someone who is very vocal like that, as I grow in my business. But, for anyone else that just wants to realize their full potential and just step into being a better, more rounded, more whole person, you will change lives in the process. In fact, I know that myself, even on my journey. If I look at my own family nucleus, so I've got my mum and my two sisters. In fact, I've got two nieces as well. And without me going on my journey, I wouldn't have two nieces who run up to tell me that they watch a movie, Zootropolis, and say, oh, that's Auntie Debbie. And they'll run up and they'll do this. And then they'll say, I'm learning this in school. I know the tree pose in yoga. And then they'll tell me why mindfulness and meditation is helpful. And I see the change even in the language my sisters use when they talk about things. And I think, even if that was all I changed in the world, all I helped change, that's 3 adults and 2 children who will then go on and share that message. That's the ripple effect. That's sometimes the starting point. Don't aim to be Jay Shetty overnight. Just aim to start small and let that build and see the ripple.
I love it. I know that you have a cool framework.
I do. And I would love to share it with you. So my framework is through learned experience and what my clients have experienced on a journey. It's helped me formulate a model that has really seen quite a big difference for myself and for other people. So I don't know if you know yourself or if you've experienced this. A lot of people sometimes will say, I want to make a change. They jump straight in and they go gung-ho, and they maybe try it over and over. And then they keep trying different things and nothing's happening, or they might try something once and then just stop. So what happens is they've got a level of fears built up, old beliefs, old stories about themselves. Perhaps even they struggle with anxiety or, old traumas. It could be a whole host of things. What I've learned is, and this is personal to me as well, this is how I know, if you don't do the healing work up front, and I'll cover what healing is in a second, the growth will be stilted. You will grow to a point, but you'll not grow into your full potential because you'll constantly get blocked by what those things are that have held you back in the past. And what I know to be true of that is confidence, self-worth, self-belief, believing that, you know, everyone else in my family's never succeeded, so what makes me any different? Or I've always been someone that will never earn a good income, so I don't aim for anything bigger. See these old stories and beliefs and, you know, maybe anxieties about trying because of confidence issues. If we don't resolve them up front, then the growth isn't as exponential as it can be. So for me, if you heal first, you can see true growth in your potential and build your confidence through that. Then the last part is the thrive. So my model is heal, grow, thrive. And when you hit thrive, that's when you're in the vibrational shift. That's when you start to see life through a whole different lens. You know, you're climbing that mountain and today you're down at the bottom and all you see is the chaos and the people and the dirt tracks. But as you start to move up, you start to see, oh, look over there, just 2 minutes away from my little area. It's lush and green and it's full of potential. So the higher up you go, the more you raise your vibration, the more opportunities you'll see and the different things become available to you. So that is my model.
I like it. And I like how you explain it because it's inspirational. And this is something that I see. I actually see the world moving towards the inspiration part. Maybe it's just me because I hang out with people who are inspirational, but I'm hopeful because you've explained this really well. Like, there's the healing that needs to take place, then you're able to grow and then thrive. Because
Yep.
and the thriving part is kind of like being in balance and also being able and open to choose any
Yes.
other opportunity that comes your way.
And because you've grown through healing, you'll grab the opportunity, which right now, if you try and jump straight for the opportunity, you might sabotage yourself because you don't feel good enough, or you see it in the horizon and you think, maybe one day, and nothing happens. So that's my message. It's the biggest message. Go back to the beginning, find out all the things that have, you know, really challenged you, that are holding you back, and then you will see true growth and then you'll thrive in all areas of your life.
Yeah, because even though we start changing and we see that it's not possible, so we stop, we have that block. And then we try again another time and we feel like, oh, this time is going to work. But it's kind of like the same pattern and we go and
Yep.
that same thing.
That you've absolutely spot on. And there is these repeating patterns. And until we make a change, until we actually do something about the thing that's holding us back, you just keep going round in a cycle. And one of the key things, that's one of the reasons I actually use hypnotherapy in my model and, you know, hypnosis, because I'm a firm believer of, you know, reaching the subconscious mind gives us the best possible chance at getting to the root and really rewiring and recoding the mind for that true healing and ultimate potential. So yeah, that's where it all came from.
Yeah. And you know, a few years back, I didn't actually know. I mean, I've always been passionate about the subconscious mind and the afterlife and all sorts of things that sometimes people label as woo. But until I did something, I tried something really practical to really see, hey, is this really true about my subconscious? And the thing that I did was I tried a strategy, a technique to wake up at a specific hour in the morning. And I would do this exercise right before I went to bed. Like, I asked my subconscious mind to wake me up at 6 a.m., let's say. And then I would say this and I would repeat it. And I would visualize myself waking up, looking at my phone at 6 a.m. and okay, I'm awake. And it worked. Like, it worked for 3 nights in a row or 3 mornings.
There you go then.
Yeah, and that's all it takes to believe. I mean, sometimes, yeah, we do need to see it to believe it, but it's also the other way around, because I wouldn't have tried it unless I believed it on some level.
On some level, yeah. And that's the key thing, isn't it? Is there's got to be the will to want something,
Yeah.
you know, so it's really got to have that belief in yourself that it's something that you really do want, and then change can truly happen. My goal is really to inspire women to believe in themselves so that they can then have the confidence to take that action towards achieving that different life that they want. And as I said, it doesn't need to be groundbreaking, it's just different to what they've got right now.
Yeah, I love it.
Mm-hmm.
Let's move into the practical tips.
Mm-hmm. I have written down 3 tips that I wanted to share with you today. So this is a blend of some of the coaching things that I think about with clients or get them to think about, as well as my deeper model. So the first thing is getting clear about where you are right now and where you want to go. This is one of the biggest things, and I don't know for any Bob Proctor fans out there, he talks about this all the time, but if you don't actually know where you are right now and where you want to go in some way, this is why we don't move forward, because we don't even have an idea of what it is that we want to try and achieve. So how can you put small steps in place, mini goals, if you don't even know where you want to go? So that would be my first thing that I would get you to do, is think about, where am I right now? What is my life like right now? How do I feel right now? Is this where I want to be? Because if it's not, how do I want to feel in the future? And how would my life look if I felt that way? Like, what is it my life would need to be like for me to, or I believe that my life would need to be like to feel that way? That's the way that you can then work back the way and look at the small steps. And the key thing that Bob talks about all the time is you don't need to know all the steps. Don't get overwhelmed with, today you're at the bottom of Everest and you think, how on earth do I get up there? You know, even the first people that climbed Everest didn't know how to do it. They went again, the next year they went again, the next year they went again, each time getting a little bit further because the lesson had been learned from the previous errors, until one day they made it all the way. And it's no different for us doing this with our goals. So that's the first thing. The second thing is, let me see.
And just before you go to that, I had a thought. Like you said, people climbing Mount Everest. And it's not about climbing the mountain or even reaching the top. It's about the feeling that reaching the top produces in us. So that's the goal that we're going towards, like the feeling. Because sometimes I do have problems with, like, okay, let's say I want to have something else in my life. What would I want? Like, I struggle with the material parts because I'm not interested in that. So I do go towards the feelings. How would I want to feel in the future?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And that is so key, because before you go on a journey of some kind of enlightenment, so to speak, we often get really hooked on material, the external. But in actual fact, nothing external is the thing that's going to make you happy. Not a perfect guy, a perfect girl, the biggest house, all the money. Doesn't work. That has short-term, feelings with it. It makes you feel good in the moment, but the reality is it's not got longevity. The real true peace and contentment and happiness, joy, whatever you want to call it, comes from doing the inner work on yourself. And that leads me exactly right into point number 2. So thanks for that. One of the things on my journey that was the pivotal thing that made me do the biggest change of all, which was actually realize I could leave corporate. I never thought I could. I even started my degree while I was still working full time. I was doing it with the Open Uni. And it was so much work. Like, I mean, I was 8 hours in work and then trying to come home and do constant study and all the rest of it. And even when I was at my busiest, most stressed, I decided to go to these, it was like a meditation center. And even though I was really busy, I just knew that I wanted to get clearer and get quiet in the mind. So even though I was busy and it was chaotic in my life, I went there. And after a couple of months of consistently going, even when I was so stressed out, I remember the day that I arrived with them and how chaotic my life was. And I remember what happened about 2 or 3 months in, when one day I woke up and I thought, now I know what I'm supposed to do. And that next week, I handed my notice in to my corporate job. And 4 months later, I left and embarked fully on the life that I'd always wanted. But I couldn't see clearly because I couldn't slow down. I was an autopilot. I didn't think things were possible. I couldn't see the answers that were sitting in front of me. So that's my tip to all of you people out there. Get quiet in the mind through mindfulness. And even if it's meditation, brilliant, but there are so many other ways to live a mindfully, sort of mindful life. So part of something that I want to share with you today, and Tini's kindly offered to share the links. I have a small John Kabat-Zinn style, because that's who I learned mindfulness from. Very short, a journey to mindfulness in 7 days. And it's helpful to get intentional with your thinking, awareness of your thoughts, and really slow down. So that's for you as a little freebie. I'll give Tini the links, so please enjoy it, and really use it and go over it and over it and over it, because trust me, that was where the biggest light bulbs came on for me, and I never stopped my mindful living after that. It was the best thing that I ever did. So that was my second tip for you, because it's also part of the healing. And the third tip is look a lot deeper. And I know it can be scary. Just, lift the covers up a little bit more on what's really going on behind the scenes for your thinking. So those beliefs that you've got that are stopping you doing some of the things that you want to do. So think about what's really holding you back. Because sometimes we'll say, I'm not going for that career change because I'm the breadwinner of the family and we can't afford it. Or, I just don't see how I would ever have the qualifications to be able to go for something like that. Seems like hard work. So once you really do a little bit of digging and really get to the core, identify, is it anxiety that you're maybe suffering and it stops you, taking risks? Is it your confidence? Is it the old stories? Oh, I was never good at school. I'd never be able to do a college course. You can hear it all the time. I hear it all the time from people. Just identify them and then heal them. Find ways to see new stories for yourself, because that will really help you grow. And what I wanted to share with you, because that's the start of the journey. If you don't heal it, you'll never get off the starting line properly, okay? That's my biggest message. And I wanted to share something else that I've got for you, which Tini will give you the links. Thank you, Tini. Is I have a YouTube channel, and I very recently launched my, it's got lots of stuff in it, but you'll see the new stuff because it's got the same cover on it, and it's called Heal, Grow and Thrive with Deborah. And that is the name of my new channel, which basically will cover everything that you need to heal, grow and thrive and truly realize your potential and shift your vibration.
I love it. And I told you that I wasn't aware of your YouTube channel, so I'm gonna check it out. And I forgot to say this in the beginning, like, I love your accent. I wanted to say, like, with a brilliant accent.
It's so funny because we all don't like our accents. I mean, I love listening to anyone that doesn't sound Scottish, to be honest. So thank you for the compliment. It's something that is always at the back of my mind, especially when I do hypnosis and, guided meditation, because people either love your accent or they hate it. So you're not for everyone. That's the thing. So if you like my accent now, I'm pretty sure you'll like what I've got to say on my YouTube channel, and you'll enjoy the hypnosis and meditations that are coming into there soon. So
yeah. And I wanted to ask you, okay, you do the healing, the growing and the thriving, but it's never over, right? This is
never.
like an eternal growth and eternal cycle.
Because what you discover, so for example, when I first healed, my first healing was inner child healing. I didn't even know I was doing it. I was doing it myself because I didn't know who to ask for help. I didn't even know this world of self-development. None of this was in my periphery. So I didn't realize it, that I was actually doing the inner child healing on myself for a long, long time. Because my parents separated when I was young, and I had a lot of abandonment issues and lots of other things and different anxieties that came from that, because it was a very different life. And yeah, it's something that I know now, that if I hadn't have done that, I wouldn't have moved to the next level. But once I did that bit, I then needed to look at what the next things were, because that helped me make the first moves. But then I needed to uncover different things when it came to educating myself again or starting a business, because each of the things have different components. So I'm just continually digging a little deeper, healing out those wounds, working on my confidence, working on my belief systems. And yeah, but each time I'm going up and up and up on the level of vibration and or the level of frequency. And that's the key, as long as there's change.
I love it.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for sharing the tips with us.
You're welcome.
And your framework and your energy. I don't know, I was super excited to talk to you, and I'm the same.
Thank you. That's so nice of you to say. I really enjoy what you do. I love reading your emails. I get them every week, every other week when you send them through. So you're always inspiring as well, Tini, and I'm grateful that you've given me an opportunity to speak on your platform.
Thank you. Where can people find you if they want to connect with you? I'm going to share the links in the description, but just in case.
I've got a few things. So you can connect with me on, I have a Facebook page with my business page. I also am quite visible on LinkedIn. Again, Tini will give you the links for that. Thank you, Tini. You will also be able to connect with me once you're on my mini course. If you decide to join it, you will be form part of my tribe, and you'll be notified when more things come along my way. So for example, I'm about to launch my new website. So the website was just deborahcraig.com, but that's my old one. So the new one should be coming out within the next week or so. And again, just keep the deborahcraig.com in your mind, because you'll be able to access it when it comes out, because it's quite straightforward. But yeah, that's what I've been working on. I've got YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn, and it'll be deborahcraig.com for the website when it's up and running fully, which will be in the next week.
Yay. That's exciting. It's an exciting time.
It very much is, because I've been working on fine-tuning my online program so that you can do the Heal, Grow and Thriving from the comfort of your own home, my own hypnosis work, everything all online. But equally, there's the opportunity to work with me one-to-one as well in my full coaching and hypnotherapy programs. All of that will be part of the information within my website. So I'm really excited to bring that to the masses and share my message.
Thank you so much. Thank you for sharing part of your message with us today. Thank you all for listening. Is there anything that you would like to leave people with, like parting words?
My final words would be, if it's not now, when? If you don't decide today to do something different, then when will you? And that's one of the biggest things that I take from my own life. I knew something didn't feel right for a long time, and I didn't know how to do it. But I did make the decision based on, if I don't do it now, then when will I do it? And just for the record, I was 39 when I started my degree to start this pivotal change in my life. So there's no barriers, age, finance, anything. There's always a way. You just have to look for the opportunities.
Beautiful. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thank you so much for having me, Tini. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.